Yesterday at the State House, low-wage workers rallied in March for setting a new minimum wage at $15 an hour. They pressed legislators to pass a bill that would apply to home care and fast food workers, along with employees of large retailers. To tell us about the legislation are two members of the Fight for 15 campaign, a McDonald's employee from Dorchester, Darius Cewphas, and a worker at Home Depot, Abdias, Maleus. Thank you both very much for being with us. I want to start with Darius. I mean, there must be still some people who would say $15 an hour to work at fast food. I mean, they can get people for $5 an hour. So how do you come off asking for 15?
The reason why, because even $7.50, and some people in the state are still receiving $7.50s in different parts of the United States. It's basically you can't live on it. You try your best to live on it, but you can't. You can only make a certain amount of money because of the hours they give you. And then ain't no telling if you're gonna get the same hours, the same weeks. Everything changes. So being the fact you might work 40 hours one week, but then next week you work 20. So then you can't afford your rent for the month because you didn't balance your out. Whether or not you make $200 a week, balancing out in 4 weeks, that's $800. You can't even live in the city you work in. You can't go nowhere you work at. You really can't buy the food where you work at.
The other thing here is about how hard these jobs are. You're at Home Depot, you've worked at Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah.
Tell me about this.
Well, working at Dunkin' Donuts, it was a very when I started working there, it was very cool. It was like all dandy. And then when I actually started to realize what was happening and actually got into the middle of it, I was like, this isn't like the best place to be, because when you start working at Dunkin' Donuts or a fast food restaurant, you get like, it messes up with your mind psychologically. Like, you get abused, and then you get abused by the person who you're working for and the people who you're selling to. So that can like be very stressful. And also you're doing all these other jobs. Like, let's say so and so doesn't show up for this shift. If I work 24-hour Dunkin' Donuts, I have to stay for this shift, and let's say I want to go to sleep at 12, at 10 o'clock when I leave. I can't leave at 10 o'clock, or I either go home to go to sleep because so-and-so didn't show up. So I have to stay to cover her shift until she comes back to the job because she's late. So that is stressful, because at the next day, let's say Saturday, and this has happened before. Saturday, she's late, or so-and-so is late, and then I have to go to church the next day. So I get 4 hours of sleep, and then I have to wake up to go to church. It's not fair.
Darius, I guess the other thing going on here is a lot of people in these jobs aren't getting much per hour, so they work more than one job. So I guess they have to make it all fit in.
We all do. Like, I work 2 jobs. I work at Dollar Tree and McDonald's just to afford my price and myself, my living standards that I have. A lot of people I've known work 2-3 jobs, just to make it through days in and day out, and they're still working 2-3 jobs, living hand to mouth, check to check, week to week. So even then, they can't even have money to spend on themselves. They have to budget themselves with nothing. You can't budget zero with zero.
Abdias, there some people might say, well, if you don't like this, the thing you got to do is pick up some new skills and go look for a better job. So tell me about how $15 relates to that longer term kind of plan.
Well, the thing about people telling us to go to new schools and get a better job, you could try doing that, and getting a better job, it's not really easy because you still have to pay bills though. So at the same time, trying to get a better job, which most people who are in fast food or the industry are trying to do, you still have to pay those bills. So you try to get a better job, and you most likely sometimes you don't get it, and then you're stuck at the restaurant. I've seen it plenty of times. People say, "Oh, I'm leaving, getting a better job," and then they never did, and then they're still here. They still got to pay those bills. Sometimes some people actually quit because they thought they was gonna get the other job. They never did, and now they're stuck. You got 0 now. So you don't want to fall for that. And the thing about getting 15, it's minimum wage is supposed to be livable wage. You know what I'm saying? It's it's supposed to be affordable for you and your family to live. When I get paid $9 an hour, I come back home, I pay myself and bill for me and my family, an internet bill, and then the cable bill, and then our groceries. At the end of the day, I have nothing.
Darius, it's interesting because over the years, just about everybody's pay has gone up at least a little. But if you look at the people who are in the low-wage part of this, not much.
Because a lot of people are still stuck. Some people are scared. Some people are nervous. But we trying to let people understand that everyone struggles. everyone's in the same boat. We're all the same people, and we need a livable wage for us to maintain, because not only would it make our economy better, not only would it make our schools and our systems better, but it'll make us as better people, us as a better community. You take your money and you go to a small grocery store around your corner. That obviously feeds a small business owner. He can then help another person out in his community by giving them a job, and now that job's paying a livable wage, so that person can help his parents or his grandmother, whoever he lives with, out. So by sewing into your own community, it makes it so much better, so much stronger, and we become so much united as a people. And that's what the whole Fight for 15 is, pretty much, is we're trying to tell people that everybody in this world is struggling, and we're tired of struggling. We're tired of the same day-by-day plan. We're tired of it. We need to live. We need to survive. We're tired of being on public assistance, government assistance, and following so many rules to the point where it makes us go crazy inside.
Abdias, you mentioned problems with hours, and in this legislative package, there's something to at least make that scheduling challenge a little easier to handle. In other words, that there are going to be some requirements for employers that they have to go by if they're going to be fooling around with schedules, I guess.
Exactly. Yeah, some of the employers are going to have to actually compensate the workers for the hours that they missed, and I actually like that, because sometimes like when I was working at Dunkin' Donuts, sometimes they would take hours away from me, and then I wouldn't be able to, even when I had all my hours, they give me the maximum 35 hours, and I need 40 hours to cover all my bills. So I'd never be able to pay it completely. So sometimes we wouldn't have groceries. Sometimes we would have less than we would, than we'd need. Sometimes my mom would have to try to, help me, because I try to help my mom get groceries, and when I don't have enough, we don't get enough groceries. So it's bad, and then sometimes I'd have to, try to get the cell phone bill. Sometimes we don't have no cell phone, for a week. And then I have to wait for next week for next paycheck to pay cell phone bill. Sometimes the internet will be shut off. So it's back and forth. I'm always missing something when it comes down to paying my bills. And I feel like the compensation that they give me if they took away my hours would actually, it would change that.
Darius, what about the home care workers? They are increasingly important. More of us are going to be getting older. How does this affect that?
Basically, the same people that take care of your grandfather, your grandmother, your mothers, your fathers, maybe your sisters or your brothers, those people have to take care of their families as well. So being the fact that they devote their whole time to take care of another family, they still have a family at home they have to provide for. So this $15 will actually help that family actually survive a lot better, knowing mommy's helping this family out and devoting most of her time over there, but she knows her children are well taken care of at home. She don't have to worry day by day, okay, who's eating, who's not, I gotta run here, I gotta run there, and nobody's picking up my child from school, and it's too much for a lot of people to handle, but a lot of people can't afford daycare services and all that stuff. So we're trying to push it forward and let people understand that we're tired and we're done, and we can't take it no more. We really can't.
Abdias, how does it make you feel just getting involved in this campaign?
Well, I started to get involved in the campaign earlier this year in June, and I've continued to be part of the campaign. And actually, it's very galvanizing, because you get to see people of different all different creeds, nationalities, and they come and they tell you their story, and you feel like you've been there before, because it's basically the same stories being told over and over again. There's different faces, and also kind of a different version of the story, and it feels good to actually see that you're not the only one who's going through this. Other people are going through this with you, and they'll be able to help you. Go through the problems and find a solution for the problems, and that feels very revitalizing as a person to see that happen.
Darius, you mentioned there are some things that people can look for in social media to get in touch with this campaign.
Yeah, hashtag fighting low wage, hashtag fight for 15.
And Raise Up Massachusetts too, right?
Yeah, we're in Massachusetts deep, so it's a bunch of people from Massachusetts, but it's all over the world. You can check in from anywhere, but mainly if you're from Boston, you're from Massachusetts, I want everybody to try their best. If they know somebody in fast food, or if they know somebody that's struggling and know somebody that needs help, even support of a family or support of a community, let us know. Get involved with this because it's our future. Because the simple fact is that if we hit 15, we can provide a better community because the lower class will become the middle class.
Also,
And that will go on for so long.
That's the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Thank you both very much for being with us, Darius, Cewphas, and Abdias, Maleus. Still to come, the advantages of lifelong learning, but first, this message.